Well, hello everyone, and welcome back. welcome back. Beep 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 beep. It's a Jodi Hildebrandt, Ruby Franke, Kevin Franke Snarkfest. If I've ever seen one. It's time for part 2, methinks, because if I wait too long, these videos just might disappear. You know what I mean? Let me know how my levels are, darlings. We ended last time, I believe, with the pineapple video, or no, not pineapple, watermelon. It's been a day, folks. The new charges. Hey, Candace, welcome. Hello, Electra, my love. Yeah, so the update today, so far as I've heard, oh, there are new charges. Well, I haven't been keeping updated as of the past like 2 hours, I think. I'm still getting caught up with like the craziness about Kevin Franke apparently calling the police like 2 days after his 2 children were found tortured at Jodi Hildebrandt's house, and he was calling the police 2 days later to say that his daughter, Sherry Franke, had broken into his house and stolen things. So I would love to hear updates about that. That's the furthest I know about Kevy Franke. Zion National Park. That's awesome, Candace. I'm jealous. I've always wanted to go there. So you guys are going to have to let me know how this sounds, because I am not using a mixer. I don't know how it sounds on your end, so I'm just hearing it here. Let's continue, shall we? So we finished, let's watch this one more time. How about it? Doesn't that sound fun? Oops.
Good morning. I am here on my Monday morning
Doodly-doo!
Excursion. I'm here in the store, and I'm going to take you along and show you some of the things that I buy, the things that I really like that are probably no-nos for your body, and then the other stuff that's really healthy that's like I'm not too fond of. So join me. I just got disappointing news. I love this chicken salad sandwich mixture that they make, and they just said they didn't have the ingredients, didn't come in the truck, so I'm disappointed. All right, we're gonna go to the produce section next. So I love strawberries, but I was looking over here, and you ever seen these? Ugh. They're like albino. They're called
Horrible sound.
strawberry
Sorry.
rose. Has anybody ever had those? So here we go. I have some parsley and some tomatoes.
Hey, objection overruled. I literally can't think straight. This video is so loud.
And some, oops,
I hope it's not so loud on your end. Oh my god.
green onions. Look at this. Onions. Oops, green onions.
I can't turn
Onions
it
with
down
garlic.
at this point
Look at that baby hanging out of there.
on my end.
We're making some Asian food. You know what? This weekend I made my very first Asian
Yeah,
dish. It was
Candace.
amazing. So I kind of burnt the chicken as I was making the Asian dish.
This is a weird trip to the
I
grocery
just
store,
scraped off the
August
burn
9th,
marks and it worked.
2021. God, it's so loud. Oh, and look who showed up.
Ruby, is that you? Hey, Ruby's here.
what a
I'm
laugh.
here, grabbing my watermelon. Yeah, we're here both.
Look at these silly ladies here.
We're coming and
How
getting
about
ready
that?
for the couples conference.
Oh my God!
I'm so excited about it.
I'm so excited too.
You guys need to come to the couples conference. It's going to be amazing.
need to
I hope
come,
you come.
okay?
There's going to be tons of
Bring
people
your
there.
giant watermelons
Lots of
and
fun
smash them over your
discussion.
own heads.
Finding out why you're really disappointed in your marriage and getting some help on that. That's why we're here.
Yep.
And the watermelon.
And the watermelon.
Yay, watermelon
Ruby
and
Kevin,
marriage
presenting?
troubles.
Let's see if we can get us both in here. Ruby and Kevin are going to be
Howdy,
presenting
Boston.
along with Curtis and Laura and Maria and Kelly. Those are the three couples. And then we have a couple individual people who will be speaking. The 24th and 25th of September in sunny St. George. I hope you'll come. We're going to have an amazing time talking about what's going on in your marriage and why it's making it difficult for you to communicate.
Yep.
So excited. Wow. Bye-bye.
Stop. Don't make me watch the rest of it. Sorry. Oh, I had to, it does, objection overruled. It sounds very familiar. I think a lot of my Watts Island friends would really enjoy this content. I mean, be interested in it. You know what I mean?
You are watching, each of you is in a different situation. And there are some of you who right now are thinking, there is not a more
Here's Kevy.
unhealthy marriage than my marriage right now in the world. And I'm here, from what I've learned from the experience of Laura and Curtis.
Look at her face.
I don't think there was a more
Wait, I'm learning how to use OBS on one screen right now, so I'm like switching things around. I'm cracking up right now. Old Frankie. Let me get rid of this screen. Ugh, I need to get my readers. But so here's old Kevy Frankie.
healthy marriage on the planet than yours. And the fact that you are where you are now should give hope and inspiration to everybody, not just in this conference, but everybody in your lives. That everyone has fear around this idea of separation, fear around this idea of taking responsibility for past mistakes. And Laura and Curtis are beautiful examples of what happens when two individuals
No. Don't get me started on Laura and Curtis.
To repent and to own their mistakes and to change. It's inspiring to me. It's inspiring to everybody who knows you two.
Thank you.
And so, I know there's people listening right now who are going, I don't see a way out of this. And I don't know your situation, and maybe there isn't, because for a marriage to thrive, it requires two individuals to exercise their choice, to change, and to become responsible, honest, and humble. And maybe one of the individuals in the marriage will not make that choice. But what I'm trying to say is there is no place that an individual can be that is too low, too lost, that they can't exercise their choice starting today and change. Those of you who are watching, each of you is in a different...
No. Okay. So that was August 10th at the conference, I presume. Curtis and Laura used to have one of the unhealthiest relationships on the planet. Kevin witnessed this special couple change and transform their marriage into something beautiful and not disgusting. Clearly. What's next? Sorry, I'm cracking up right now. Oh God, no.
For back to school. This is what morning school routines used to look like in my home before I knew about structure and boundaries.
Hey, I told you 30 minutes ago it's time for school.
Now you're in my bed. Get
5 more minutes. Hey, Mom, have you washed my socks yet?
Mom, I'm running really late. Could you please make me a lunch?
Oh, can I put an apple pie in mine?
Have you brushed your teeth or fixed your hair?
It doesn't matter. I was just blathering. Thank you for staying with me, even though I was muted that entire time. I said some really profound things about how, even though I'm laughing a lot watching these, it's out of sheer, like, amazement and intrigue, because it reminds me so much of so many other cases. And I feel like in the end, it's going to look the most like the Nexium case and Keith Raniere, because he manipulated so many people and destroyed so many people's lives for so many decades. And we're talking like high up people, but also there's an aspect of like SA throughout the whole story that's absolutely insane, and different kinds of, A. Hopefully I'm not muted again. That's my disclaimer, folks. If you're still here, God bless you, and I hope that I see you in heaven, if that exists.
I made cream of wheat for breakfast.
Can I have cereal instead, Mom?
If any of this looks familiar to you, please join us on Saturday, August 21st at 8 a.m. for a free conference.
Why is she dressed like a nun?
We'll be talking all about empowering your children through setting boundaries, teaching them responsibility, and helping them to heal from anxiety. Hope to see you there. You guys, it is
No
time
thanks.
for back.
I went to Catholic school. It was more fun than you people. You people are crazy. I don't know what. Oh, okay. This is Curtis and Lara. Let's. You know what, Curtis and Lara? I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to speak your truths. Are you living in truth?
I've lived my life
distortion?
wanting my whole exterior to look good, to hide me. And so her experience with me is that. And I walked down the stairs and I felt really hurt and I was sad. And I came back up and I was thinking while I was down there for a few seconds, I'm going to ask her kind of what was behind that. And before I could even find her, she found me. And she says, and she just truthfully, heartfelt, like, I want to tell you that I'm sorry, like a real I'm sorry. And I want to know how it affected you. And I told her, I didn't say, oh, that's okay, don't worry about it. I told her how I felt. And we had a discussion that was like the
Hey, it's me, Hot Ham Radio again. I'm interrupting because did you read this description over here? Curtis told Laura how he really felt. This led to a very vulnerable conversation. They experienced a kind of love that was better than sex could ever create. What do you think? Is it possible to experience true love with someone if you take sex out of the equation? Live workshop, marriage advice. See, these people, the fact that this licensed therapist, Jodi Hildebrandt, was allowing these people to say these things on social media like this, is that normal? I don't know. Anybody out there who's like a mental health worker or something? I mean, I believe me, I work in the, mental health world, literally. And I've never really seen anything like this. I feel like you would get reported immediately. But apparently there are still thousands of people that are in the Moms of Truth Connections Facebook group, which is private on Facebook. They're all still in there. And Pam Bodger, let's go with that. I think that's what her name is still the presidente of, let's look up old conexiones. Welcome to me, Hot Ham Radio, being completely ADD. Because that's what I do. About us. Business team. Oh, good. You can see it, right? Can you guys see it? Welcome to my brain. My technology's working. I can share my brain with you guys. Pam Bodcher. See how right was I? Pam Bodcher is the president of Connexions Foundation. She has a degree in interpersonal communications. A mother of 7 and grandmother of 14, she has served for 6 years on the Timpanogos Symphony Board of Directors and 2 years on the Utah Metropolitan Ballet Board of Directors. So she sounds like a fancy LDS person, in my opinion. That's about. Oh, here we go. Here's Ruby. Ruby Franke. Everybody's already talked about this so much, but it doesn't get old. Ruby Franke is a certified mental fitness trainer with Connexions. She is a wife and mother to 6 wonderful children. She provides content on Connexions, social media platforms, and podcasts that focus on empowering parents and children to live in truth, but mostly parents. It's mostly empowering parents to embrace the fact that they hate their children. That's what I'm gathering. We haven't even gotten to the podcasts. I forgot about the podcasts. We're not even there. We're not even finished with Laura and Curtis. Sorry, guys. It's been a really long week, and I feel like an urgency. I need to get this recorded on YouTube somewhere because I feel like it's all going to be private soon because of this trial that's going to come up. That's going to be a very big deal in the LDS community, I think.
The most beautiful love, more beautiful and loving than any lustful sex could ever create, ever. And it was just a great example to me of what I've been missing. I've lived my life wanting my whole exterior to look good, to hide me. And so her experience with me is that. And I walked down the stairs and I felt really hurt and I was sad. And I came back up and I was thinking while I was down there for a few seconds, I'm going to ask her kind of what was behind that. And before I could even find her, she found me. And she said, and she just truthfully heartfelt, like, I want to tell you that I'm sorry, like a real I'm sorry. And I want to know how it affected you. And I told her, I didn't say, oh, that's okay, don't worry about it. I told her how I felt. And we had a discussion that was like the most.
This is so sad to me because it seems to me that these people have been married for a long time. And maybe this is the first time that they've ever like had an honest conversation with each other. Never mind the fact that this poor couple has been like gaslit into thinking that masturbation is the same as having a full-blown affair, which is basically worse than literally unaliving someone. I'm like, this is the culture that these people are brought up in, and I think Jodi targets them. These people, in my opinion, are
Beautiful
abused.
love.
They are victims.
More beautiful and loving than any lustful sex could ever create, ever. And it was just a great example to me of what I've been missing. I've lived my life wanting my whole exterior to look good, to hide me. And so her experience with me is that.
Sorry, I kept letting that go. It's just, yeah, Candace, I believe these couples agreed to be on the website probably because Jodi Hildebrandt was a licensed, highly recommended mental health therapist, which carries a very, very big deal set of licensure in this country and in Utah. Doesn't matter, but state by state, she was practicing with a mental health license. Like, this wasn't she wasn't like a counselor. She wasn't like a life coach. She was a licensed therapist with decades worth of clients, and she figured out a way to start. She started a cult. She did. And there are people still in it. Okay. So I'm telling you that right now, the people we're seeing in these videos are still in this cult.
Want a more intimate sexual relationship inside a marriage. I mean, is that
Well,
appropriate?
Maybe not these two. Hopefully. I think they've been waking up a little bit over the past few weeks. Like, I think it's dawned on them slower than it has for us watching, which is insane.
And I would say absolutely. And because I want that, I am now going to need to be responsible for that. And that is not going to come with, frequency. It's not going to come with controlling the situation. It's going to come from my individual choices to create safety in my marriage. So if I want a better sexual relationship inside my marriage, I need to start being responsible for how honest I am. I need to start being responsible for the words that I use for me, which would affect between the two of us, using words and truth.
Look at Kevin.
I would need to be honest, responsible, and humble. And as I do that, and if Kevin chooses to do that, then we will increase the intimacy in our marriage.
Yeah. So did you all hear that? That it is appropriate to want a more healthy, intimate sexual relationship with your spouse. But here's the problem.
What?
I love what Curtis said about motive. So here's an example of a healthy want, but an unhealthy motive. I want a more intimate sexual relationship with my spouse, because if my spouse desires me, that means I still have value. Now do you hear the unhealthy motive? So now I'm going to spend 5 hours a day at the gym trying to make myself physically attractive.
Is this the values that, I'm sorry, the LDS culture is instilling in its members? Is this like, I don't even know if that was English, but I feel like this is a whole thing. There's so many people that think like this right now. That's what's so scary to me, that there are people that live this level of, like, in my opinion, like a really sad existence, and not the kind of existence people should be living. And to be susceptible to this kind of coercion, like this kind of control, to literally let your children be horrifically tortured, like not just abused, but like tortured, that is in freaking sane, that a culture possibly enables this kind of behavior. That's just my opinion.
So my spouse will desire me physically, lust after me,
Hey, Kai.
so that I can have that healthy relationship, so that I can feel like I'm enough.
It's interesting, Kevin, because your example was distortion. Ruby gave a completely truthful example using need and want in an appropriate fashion. Like Ruby's was all about self-responsibility. Yours was all about, I'm giving my power to someone else to make me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
hate the man. The
somebody
man will never be right.
Who's unpracticed or uneducated in this, the outcomes look the same in both those scenarios.
The outcomes are an end to your relationship. That is the only outcome. The outcome is you will be isolated and alienated from your family, and Jodi Hildebrandt will be living with your wife and like having fun with her, and like, you know, we're all, you know, touching up on each other, like she says, or whatever, like on their retreats. Like, this is a whole thing, people. This is a fucking sex cult, in my opinion. I really think it is. It's like a micro, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to say it again. It's a, it's a lesbian sex cult that was started by Jodi Hildebrandt, and she's done it for years. And I think she was abused as a child. And there you have it. Let's keep watching. Here's another one from like 2 years ago, August 24th, 2021.
Parented. This was something that was going on, and the name calling, the kicking, the screaming, the violence. And what I learned that I didn't know before, I thought it was, I would go into control, which is the same thing as saying distortion, because I thought that the issue was the name calling. I thought the issue at hand that needed to be fixed was the hitting and the screaming. And what I learned was the hitting and the screaming and the name calling were outcomes to my children.
What were those pictures?
Taking care of their pain and distortion. Each one of my children who were participating in this were in pain, and it was pain that was not being seen by me. It was pain that was not being acknowledged by Kevin. And so children don't know what to do with that pain. It's just inside of them, and it's just raging inside of them.
Now we're getting to it.
And it comes out in certain children as violence and kicking and screaming. And so it wasn't working for us to just, hey, you sit over there and you sit over there. Okay, now we're going to separate your beds. You can't sleep with each other anymore. And it wasn't working. Those were like Band-Aid solutions. The solution that came that was lasting, and I promise it's lasting. Once we found the pain in each of our children and addressed it,
we're going to listen to this again.
It went away. There is no name calling in our home now. There is no violence. There is no hitting or kicking or screaming. It's a really peaceful place. And it's because everybody is being seen. All of their pain is laid out. There's a lot of vulnerability, and so they're getting the care that they need. As we parented, this was something that was going on, and the name calling, the kicking, the screaming, the violence.
Listen carefully to this video. This one
that I didn't know before. I thought it was, I would go into control, which is the same thing as saying distortion, because I thought that the issue was the name calling. I thought the issue at hand that needed to be fixed was the hitting and the screaming. And what I learned was the hitting and the screaming and the name calling were outcomes to my children taking care of their pain and distortion. Each one of my children who were participating in this were in pain, and it was pain that was not being seen by me. It was pain that was not being acknowledged by Kevin. And so children don't know what to do with that pain. It's just inside of them, and it's just raging inside of them, and it comes out in certain children as violence and kicking and screaming. And so it wasn't working for us to just, hey, you sit over there and you sit over there. Okay, now we're going to separate your beds. You can't sleep with each other anymore. And it wasn't working. Those were like Band-Aid solutions. The solution that came that was lasting, and I promise it's lasting. Once we found the pain in each of our children and addressed it, it went away. There is no name calling in our home now. There is no violence. There is no hitting or kicking or screaming. It's a really peaceful place. And it's because everybody is being seen. All of their pain is laid out. There's a lot of vulnerability, and so they're getting the care that they need. As we parented, this was something that was going.
That really just gave me the chills. When she said everything is being laid out, that was August 24th, 2021. Ugh. That one just really gave me the chills. I'm sorry. Is your child bored? Is your child bored? What should you do, Ruby Doo? Is your child bored? Oh, it's muted. Oh no.
Fill me with terror. Like I would go into
Ugh.
distortion because my kids, I was afraid of them.
Ugh.
Every summer,
I am
the kids
so in
would
distortion.
come and say, I'm bored. And so, you know, I would get on Pinterest, or you would see these things on
Pinterest.
KSL, or, you know, these local talk shows. It's like 101 things to do with your child when they are bored, or how to keep your child from being bored, as if that was like you were trying to prevent them from getting sick. Like, do not, under any condition, allow your child to become bored. And I didn't know that was disconnected. I didn't know that was disconnected of my child to be bored. And I didn't know that me being so anxious about them being bored was also disconnected.
Oh my God, you guys. This is blowing my mind. Like, she's scared of her kids being bored. So she's terrified of the fact that she has 6 kids. Here, Ruby, I'm a better therapist. My name is Hot Ham Radio, and I can tell you that your entire problem is that you were brought up in an LDS family that taught you that certain values were important, and you had 6 kids before you were ready to, and didn't realize that you were like a huge narcissist and had your own issues, and you hadn't worked through them. And then you had a bunch of kids, and it's terrible, and you hate your life, and you don't know, because you're kind of neurodiverged yourself, you don't know how to take care of your own children, and you're a perfect victim for Jodi Hildebrandt. Okay, sorry. I'll just be quiet now.
I thought that was being a good mom, to worry about them being bored. So that was me in distortion. And then as I learned about responsibility, I'm responsible for my thoughts and my actions, and my child is responsible for their thoughts and actions. It was like, oh, okay, light bulb moment for me. My child is responsible for feeling bored. My child is responsible to, if they want to entertain themselves, they can entertain themselves. If they don't want to entertain themselves, they can take a nap. But I don't need to sit and like make 100.
Hot Ham Radio again here. By the way, so her sister Bonnie, by the way, she's really into that blanket training thing. So is that Duggar lady. They do that blanket training thing where it's like you make your kids sit on a blanket, and they're not allowed to say they're bored. Or, I don't know. It reminds me of that. It's like they have to sit there with one toy and just be bored for an hour, and they can't leave the blanket or play with any other toys, even though they're outside of the blanket, until mommy says they can go out of the blanket. Like, no, you should probably hire a nanny at that point, please. My God. Don't hire a blanket, hire a nanny. They can afford it. They had like 2 point whatever million followers, and Bonnie has like 1.6.
100 suggestions of what they can do. So now when my children come to me and they're like, I'm bored, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry you're choosing to be bored. Period.
I'm sorry
I'm
you're
bored.
choosing to be
So
bored.
that was one that used to fill me with terror. Like I would go into distortion because my kids, I was afraid of them.
I am in fucking distortion. I'm sorry. These videos send me into complete and absolute distortion. Like, I shouldn't be on the internet right now. I shouldn't be talking, but I have to. I can't. I'm in distortion. Raise your hand if you'd rather be doing something. Self-care. Oh no. Still not even, we are not even scratching the surface yet of the parenting videos. Okay. Like, we're still in marriage mode. It's 2 years ago. There's not enough time. I have to hurry. No, we need to hear you.
Parents,
August 30th.
and that's an opportunity to connect.
Listen
are they
to
choosing
Rod.
to be in distortion, saying that they're a victim to their boredom and that they don't have control over that?
Keyword
Yes,
is boredom.
but it's an opportunity for us as parents to connect, whether they're young or whether they're old, in Curtis's situation. And we get to choose whether we're going to be the champion debater, like are we going to win the debate, win or lose the debate, or are we going to listen and validate and use this opportunity to connect or to reflect truth? These kids are coming to us as parents. And that's an opportunity to connect. Are they choosing?
I don't want you guys to choose to be in. I don't want you to choose to be in distortion. We got to keep moving with these videos. We're never going to get to the bad parenting. We're still in the bad marriage.
Imagine going out and weeding your garden, but by weeding the garden, I mean you have this belief that weeding the garden is plucking the leaves off of all the weeds. But you leave the stems and the roots in place, but you're just, I gotta weed, I gotta go pluck the little leaves off. That's parenting today.
What?
If parents feel exasperated, it's because you're running around plucking the leaves off the weeds. You're addressing the behaviors, but you're not getting to the core issues. If you really want to help your children, you get to the core issue, you grab the stem and you pull out the root. So imagine going out and weeding your garden, but by weeding the garden, I mean you have this belief that weeding the garden is plucking the leaves off of all the weeds. But you leave the stems and the roots in place, but you're just, I gotta weed, I gotta go pluck the little leaves off.
Is
That's
he saying
parenting
the same thing
today.
over and over? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
If parents feel exasperated, it's
That was like really triggering. That's the problem with these videos. These videos are really triggering to those of us who are brought up in any kind of like weird Christian-y vibes. It's like, I'm just speaking. I'm everyone is welcome here. I'm just, what is connection?
Connection. What's so important about connection? Well, connection is about feeling close to yourself and to another person. It's about feelings.
Why are we not seeing you, Jodi? Why can't we see your beautiful face?
Connection creates the ability to talk to another person and know that you can share anything you want with them without the fear of them not seeing you or not hearing you or not validating you. However, connection is a choice. It's a choice that every person is.
It's a choice to be in a lesbian sex
for
cult.
themselves. What all humans are looking for is connection. Connection. What's so important about connection? Well, connection is about feeling.
I'm sorry, you guys. I love you all. I'm not reading the chat because if I read the chat, I will start laughing too hard. And this is a serious matter, folks. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Can't read your comments or we'll never get through this. This is a team effort. Hot Ham Radio team. You can watch this later, please. It'll be there. I don't think anybody cares.
I think a lot of parents can, and it's
the Mormons haven't caught me yet.
You said pulling that root. He says that he has a 15-year-old son who doesn't want to go to church, and he's inviting him to go, telling him that he would love for him to come, but it's still his choice. However, his phone is being taken away the day that he doesn't go to church. And you're right on to this, John, because you say this still feels like control and manipulation, and I need some advice here. And so your gut is right on. That is manipulative and controlling, and I see why you want him to go to church, but the core isn't. He's not going to church, which is these little leaves that you're talking about. The core is that your son doesn't have a connection to God. And you're not going to get that connection to God by going to church.
Or taking his phone away for a day.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's just going to breed resentment or add resentment into the whole situation. And you see, even though the desire to have your son attend church feels good, by trying to coerce or manipulate your son into doing that is just going to pour gasoline onto an already existing fire.
It's going to add to the disconnect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if I were in that position, if I were in John's shoes, I would immediately approach my son's perception about God and about life and about what's the meaning behind all of this. Why are you here,
guys?
son?
We're gonna re-listen and watch this
and get curious with my son's perceptions around where his value and his worth come from, because there's nothing magical about going to church. But there is, something very important around living principles and living in accordance with God's commandments. And somebody who is living in accordance with God's commandments chooses to go to church. And so, again, what is the focus? Are you focusing on an externality that is very visible and people can see? Or are you getting down to the core issue of what's really going on?
Yeah, what I can see here is outward motivation to get him to do an outward act. So you're on the surface.
They're both talking complete
and
bullshit.
What you're saying is the solution is to get to the core. So he's internally motivated to worship, and it's not motivated by anything on the outside.
Yeah.
This question here, I think a lot of parents can, and it's going along with what you said, playing that route. He says that he has a 15-year-old son who doesn't want to go to church, and he's inviting him to go, telling him that he would love for him to come.
We won't watch it for like the 90th time. That one just really kills me. Let's see. Oh, this looks really
They
awful.
affirmed
Jesus.
the being. They affirmed the child that they are good, that they are loved, that they are
God
known, that they are
forbid.
important.
How
And
dare you tell a
simultaneously,
child that they're important?
They said your behaviors need to have outcomes. You
How
need a
dare
visceral
we tell our
experience for the
children
choices that you're making, so that the child
they
can
can
learn
be
that when they
happy
choose,
and
there's
also have
always outcome.
boundaries.
Because that is the movement of life. Look at your life. You always have an outcome for choices that you make.
This is gobbledygook.
And your children need to learn the exact same thing. Kids are not learning that these days. They're learning I can choose and then I can distract.
Oh my God. Like
And
you,
in the
Jodi.
distraction, they don't see the outcome.
And then they don't see the blah, blah, blah.
And then we as
no,
parents,
don't listen to this. Don't listen to this. Don't listen. Don't listen. I've turned off the desktop. I can hear it. I can hear it, but I had to save you from that. That was just like, you might have joined a cult. Okay. You're welcome. Here's the next one. Oh God, it's another ad. It's do you do you feel like your husband doesn't listen to you? Are your conversations filled with misunderstandings and hard feelings? When you share how you really feel, does everything blow up? It doesn't have to be this way, and you can feel understood and valued in your marriage. How? Join us for a free workshop September 18th. Learn how to generate the openness and connection you've always wanted with your spouse. Hashtag emotional honesty. Hashtag live couples workshop. Hashtag relationship help. Hashtag connexions. Sorry. Here we go.
Are you honest in your marriage?
Yes. Kevin, did you clean the bathroom like I asked you to?
Yes, I did. Did the best I could.
Okay, well, as long as you did your best.
I don't see what the big deal is. You put the toilet cleaner in, and then you get the scrub brush, and then you start cleaning.
Hey, are you on Marco Polo again?
No, I'm just working.
Do you not feel heard, or do you not feel appreciated?
Are you struggling to communicate your thoughts and feelings to others?
Join us on Saturday, September 18th at 8 a.m. Mountain Time for a live and free couples workshop on Zoom.
Jodi Hildebrandt and the panelists are going to help you understand the difference between honest and emotional honesty.
You'll also learn how to be conscious of all your thoughts and your feelings.
And how to communicate those in healthy ways to improve your relationships. Please join us. We hope to see you there.
Are you honest in your marriage?
Yes?
Kevin, did you clean the bathroom like
one of the things that I'm invited to do constantly by my kids and others is to feel like I ruined, like give in to the distortion or validate the distortion that my kids see, that I ruined their lives because I got divorced. My kids' lives are ruined. And I feed that, I enable that thinking, that because I am thinking that I ruined my kid's life because I get a divorce, then my kids believe that.
So you go to distortion with them.
Yes. And I think it's very common for single parents to do that, like, and blame their divorce or their single parenthood on why their kids are choosing what they're choosing, and be victim to that and just keep plucking the leaves instead of getting to the root and teaching their kids to get to the root, and to know that, yeah, maybe my life didn't turn out the way that I thought it might, and I still have a choice on what kind of life I am going to create. And what a great example it is to your kids when you start choosing, when I start choosing this idea that I can still create this beautiful life despite this very painful experience that I went through, that my kids are going through. And these principles have given me that hope and that peace and that joy and that
Oh my
expectation,
God,
I
this
guess.
poor man.
Expectation, not in a controlling way,
This
but in a
poor
sense of hope.
man.
Does that make sense? I am a single parent, and
Oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry. That really freaked me out. That was weird. Like, what?
In a lot of ways, but one of the most meaningful ways for me that it's helped me is it's given me structure to know how I can be the type of person that I want to be. Connections has helped me.
Chore has such a negative connotation today. It just is like, why don't you do your chores and then go drink your castor oil or something? I mean, it's
castor oil.
It's so bland. But here's the truth. A group of people live inside the same home. There is an expectation that every individual contribute to the cleanliness and the godliness of the home. And in order to have a clean and a godly home, this is what a clean and godly home looks like. Every child should be taught and encouraged to care for their own space, to be responsible for their own space and their own physical bodies.
Look at Ruby's face.
And so if they choose not to care for their own space, then what they're really saying is, Mom, Dad, I'm not capable right now of holding any more responsibilities because I can't care for my own physical space. Therefore, why, as a parent, would you allow them to to do things like cheerleading, or to do things like soccer or football, or if they can't manage their own space, then they have way too much on their plate.
Yeah, and what you're teaching them is it's okay, and it's reality that you can neglect yourself, because that's what it is. It's not about, oh, my child didn't make the bed, my child didn't clean their toilet, my child didn't do their chores. It's my child is neglecting herself.
Hey, everybody, just checking in. You all get how warped this is, right? It's real warped. This is weird thinking.
And then it's okay
Period.
to have the privilege of doing cheerleading. It's okay to have the privilege of having parties with her girlfriends. That's such a false reality. And you as the parent have the responsibility to teach the reality to your child. And the reality is, if you're neglecting yourself, there are
say reality one more time.
Uncomfortable outcomes.
Ew.
So your job is to hold them close to that discomfort. When you neglect yourself, it's uncomfortable, and you're going to feel it.
And all of those activities are distractions. They're distractions to feel good.
These people.
And
who are these
I'm a
people?
cheerleader. I feel good.
I know who they are.
I have a soccer that I'm part of. I feel
God.
good.
Mhm.
And
I have
like
a
you're
soccer
saying,
that
you're
I'm part of.
neglecting your core, which is you and your room and your space that you live in. You're neglecting all of that. And that doesn't feel good. And so you go to these outside sources to feel good.
Yeah, so you're teaching your child that their value comes from what they do. My value comes from cheerleading. My value comes from playing soccer. My value comes from my friends, from all these privileges. And but they're starving
Oh my God.
inside because they're not actually meeting their
No.
own needs. That's the only place your child's
No,
going
you're
to
wrong.
gain
You're
self-confidence is when they learn to own their needs and then to fulfill them, to meet them.
Well,
The word chore has
These
such
people-
a negative connotation today. It just is like, why don't you do your chores and
that's not me
and then go
laughing.
drink
That's that
your
other
castor
lady.
oil or something? I mean,
That
it's,
other sad.
it's so
Oh God,
it's
I can't
so
watch
bland.
it. It's so triggering. Oh no, it's Jodi's face. Sorry, guys. I'm like, this stuff freaks me out.
It is Friday, the 17th of September, and tomorrow we are having another couples workshop, and we're going to be talking about emotional honesty. So why is that important? Well, I was thinking, I'm going to get up really early this morning, which it is quite early, and I'm going to go to the store and prepare physically for the weekend, like physically get food so we have plenty of things to eat. And then I thought, it's the same thing
Why?
emotionally.
Because
we need to prepare
is she
emotionally.
gonna,
Why is it that my relationships are not
I feel like she's gonna take him to a sweat lodge or something. The Jodi Hildebrandt sweat lodge.
connected? Why is it that I seem to have conflicts
Maybe that's
with
why
my
it costs so
spouse
much
or my
money.
children? Well, here's the answer. It's because you don't know how to be, or they don't know how to be, emotionally honest. So what's the difference between honesty and emotional honesty? You're going to learn that tomorrow. Many people say, I'm honest, but what they don't understand is that emotional honesty requires you to be responsible for your emotions. Most people, I want to say all,
No
but
shit.
I can't do that. But most people don't.
Freaking nut. Okay, sorry. This is a long road that we're gonna have to tow here.
Kevin would show up in a distorted way or
Oh.
a controlling way or in drama. And what I learned was I don't need to point that out. I don't need to get Kevin to be responsible for him being in distortion. I only need to be responsible for my response to it. I am responsible for the emotions that I go into, and I need to own that. And so when I quite literally drew this line in the middle and said, whatever distortion he's in, it could be the reality. And a lot of the times it was the reality that you were in distortion. And I don't have to engage that. In fact, it's not my responsibility at all to engage that. My only responsibility is to own mine and to be honest about myself. so, you know, Kevin would show up in a distorted way or a controlling way or in drama.
Oh my God.
And
I'm sorry, guys. I'm taking you through the mud here. But don't worry, there's a few funny ones. Did we just watch that one? Look, she's always wearing the same damn shirt. I don't know when I'm in distortion and when I'm not in distortion. Oh, but there's a funny one coming up. I just saw another Jodi in the weeds.
stories. So when we first got married,
Oh, this is a funny one about
I-
cooking.
I make a fabulous apple pie. Like, it's really good. I want to say it's the truth, but it's my opinion.
This
that
is why this clip is why I think Ruby has maybe, I'm not kidding here, but I think she might have a little bit of a disability herself, and I'm not kidding. Like, I'm laughing at so many things in this video, and it's so inappropriate because it's just too insane. I can't not chuckle now and then. It's too nuts when you think of the history of all of this, and like the LDS vlogger and the Jodi Hildebrandt, like, famous therapist who there's just so much going on right now in the Mormon world. And in the cult world, honestly, a lot of that going on lately in the real world, which is crazy.
good apple
Here we
pie.
go.
And I would make this apple pie and Kevin would eat it. Now, the truth is, I really don't like apple pie. I just know how to make it. And for years, I made this apple pie and Kevin would eat it. And we were on a like a game show, like how well do you know your spouse kind of game.
A game show.
And
Does
through this
anyone know
game,
who? Does anyone know? Is there a game show? Does anyone know about whatever this show is that Gooby Franke did somewhere? I want to watch it.
I discovered that Kevin hates apple pie and I hate apple pie. And so for years I would make apple pie and he would eat it, and I was making it because I thought he loved it, and he was eating it because he thought I loved apple pie and I loved making it for him. And anyway, isn't that the craziest thing? Because we were dishonest with each other.
Yeah, well, we were each trying to control each other's.
What? No.
Is really what we were trying to do.
No, that's not what it was. It was that you were both being nice to each other. It was like the gift of the Magi. It was the gift of the fucking Magi. Read a book. What is wrong with you? You people have learning disabilities. You people haven't learned anything. Apparently going to BYU isn't an education, allegedly, in my opinion. Hot M Radio, I'm sorry. This is not going to ever be monetized. So that's special.
and when we talk about the little white lie, that's what it's all about, is that you're trying to control the emotions. You're trying to control the response of the other person. So another, infamous example is Ruby coming in with a brand new dress. And the question that we laugh at as husbands, and it's the one we always dread, and Curtis is smiling because he knows it's coming, right? Does this make
me look fat?
Yeah, does this make me look fat?
This makes
Now,
me want to
where
die.
do you go with that? Because as a husband, you go, if I speak honestly, then that's going to hurt my wife's feeling. So do you see all of the dishonesty, or do you see all of the control in that? It's not your responsibility to control your wife's feelings.
To make her feel better.
Yeah, to make her feel better. And you're not doing her any service at all if the outfit she's wearing is not flattering at all, and you just lie to her and say it looks great, and so she goes out in the public wearing that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
She goes out in the public wearing that?
In every instance, honesty is better, but it often requires two individuals that can hold it.
Shocking.
So when you talk about two individuals that can hold it, you're saying both individuals that know how to not take the other person's statements personal, which means I am going to perceive that you, honey, are giving me your honest reflection, and I trust you and I feel safe with you. That when you say that is not the most flattering, or I would prefer this, that you're not saying that to hurt me. That's what you mean by hold. So I will have truthful perceptions and therefore hold my emotions in the truth as well.
True story. So when we first got married.
Okay, so basically, basic truth. Yeah, like, I guess tell your spouse that they look fat or something. I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter because it's all garbage that she drowns in some like nonsense. I'm sorry, I can't with this cold shit. Oh, this shit.
Beliefs. I recommend an acts of truth.
This is one of my favorites. Okay, everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. Everybody quiet. Shh. Are we concentrating now? This is a really important video. I'm gonna sign off with this one, I think. It's been like an hour, I think. And I need to like eat food and go to bed. But I'm glad we're plowing through this. You guys on the rewatch crew, you're gonna enjoy this, and I want to hear everybody's comments. All opinions welcome. Unless they are, you know, hateful. So just watch this video. This is from September 30th, 2021 on Connections Coaching. How do you get to the root of your problems and heal? Your false beliefs, I'm not enough, I'm unlovable, etc., are at the core of your distortions. They create a tangled mess around your life. Truth is the only solution to cut down the root. Then you can begin to change and heal. Hashtag core beliefs. Nope, I'm not going to keep wearing them. I like this comment. Carrie Mae does life. Ah, the flip-flops. You are freaking me out with your footwear, Jodi. I agree. Carrie Mae does life. Carrie Mae, I won't be wearing this pair again. Clearly, because it looks like there's some violent stuff that goes on here. Ha 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 ha. This is so great, Carly 23 Holt. Thank you for the visual comparison. It will help me remember these concepts more easily. That's interesting. Glad it was helpful. I feel like even Jodi there was like, thanks. What? Mr. Robbie Tall, great post. Jodi, thanks. Southern Utah has the toughest weeds. Laughing, crying out loud, laughing, whatever. Are you ready for this? Everybody? Hang on. I have to mute myself.
You got to use the right tools to go after false beliefs. I recommend an acts of truth. Look at that big old root. No more core beliefs. So you see all these weeds? See all these tributaries? See how they all go up? You see what a tangled mess that is? These are all your distortions. There's hundreds of them shooting off from this one root structure. And the root structure is your core belief. Core beliefs. Look at a mess these core I just got dirt in my eye. Look at a mess these core beliefs create. So when you want to go after your distortions, you must go after your core beliefs. And you must take the right tool, which is an axe, to chop down the core. Here's the core. Look at that. with all this distortion. Now they're all dead. They have no life in them. But you've got to go after the root system. You got to.
That's it, folks. I can't keep doing this. This is too weird. I think we all need a break. That was September 30th, 2021. We will kick it off there next time with part 3. Leave me a voicemail at 410-575-3733. I promise I won't answer the phone, but I will listen to your voicemail. Thanks for listening. Beep, 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 beep. Goodbye.